Member for Breitling.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Territory Coordinator Bill is the bill the Territory needs to begin finally progressing so many of the projects that we so often hear about by the Gunner government but never materialise. Imagine how the Tellus salt mine could have progressed with the introduction of the Territory Coordinator. How perhaps the Project Sea Dragon would have materialised, the new luxury Western hotel at the waterfront. We delay these projects to the detriment of ourselves in the Northern Territory, and projects that may have materialised, had they been acted upon more swiftly, are possibly gone forever. Madam Speaker, I rise to speak in support of the Territory Coordinator Bill, and the lines I've just read are from a speech I wrote in 2021, March of 2021. Some 4 years later, Madam Speaker, we are here in this Parliament to pass this important piece of legislation to ensure important projects, significant projects, can progress. There's been much debate this evening, Madam Speaker, about what we are actually attempting to do through the introduction of this bill. And I think the Attorney-General spoke about the Chandler salt mine, commonly known as the Tellus salt mine down in Alice Springs. And this was something that I remember at the time, being a tradesman in Alice Springs and quite literally seeing representatives from Tellus salt mine leave the then member for Breitling's office, Dale Wakefield, and then hearing once again the frustration that there was no impetus, nothing from that government at the time to ensure that that salt mine had gone into production. A mine that could have provided jobs to the local community. There was talk about the local Aboriginal community being able to actually market and sell this salt. And when the salt had finally been depleted, the cavern that had been left over was being spoken about to then house hospital-grade waste. And I think when we look at all of the things that have occurred, when we look at in this country the fact that we do send some of our own waste, this is waste that comes from x-rays and life-saving medical activities that ensure that we can all live happy and healthy lives. It's so important going forward that we can ensure that not just projects like the Tellus salt mine, but other projects actually come to fruition so that we can ensure that there's a prosperous Northern Territory for everyone into the future. It shows the commitment of this government, Madam Speaker, to seeing things through. Much like the Territory Coordinator will see through projects of significance so they do materialise and not simply disappear as many projects under the former Labor government put on the major project list did. I remember now, Madam Speaker, about some large proponents not wanting to be given major project status under the previous government as it was seen as the kiss of death. No longer will this be the case. We are working to restore business confidence and rebuild our Territory's economy. There is no hiding from the facts, Madam Speaker. The Territory economy is in bad shape. We see this evidence every day. The Treasurer has been very open about this and has recently been on a roadshow speaking to Territorians about the very real predicament we are in. $11.6 billion of debt at the end of the financial year, projected to increase to $15 billion by 28-29. There is a stark need to rebuild the Territory economy, and this government has a very clear mandate to do so. A business-as-usual approach to attracting investment, facilitating development and regulatory approvals will not deliver on that mandate. It would see us continue to squander the opportunity we have to boost investment, grow the economy and create jobs so that we can stand on our own feet as a jurisdiction and Territorians can prosper. To rebuild the economy, we need to do things differently, to change it up, Madam Speaker. That is what we are doing with our program of economic reform. Central to that reform is establishing the statutory role of the Territory Coordinator to facilitate and coordinate the delivery of projects of significance to the Territory economy, and investing in the role and responsible minister the powers required to deliver on those functions. Madam Speaker, the Lands Planning and Environment portfolio administers 33 pieces of legislation. Each of these supports, facilitates or governs development in the Territory. There is no development in the Territory that does not touch the portfolio, and any significant project, program of works or Territory development area declared under the Territory Coordinator legislation will have multiple interactions with myself as a Minister for Department of Lands, Planning and Environment. As the key regulatory body in the Northern Territory, I and the Department expect to be working very closely with the Territory Coordinator. And for this reason, the Department has been closely engaging in the development of this legislation. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Department officials for their contribution. Their engagement has been constructive, inserting their practical experience in planning, environment and resource assessment and approval processes, focusing on opportunities to expedite projects and overcome unintended barriers to development. Complementary to this legislation, the Department is also pursuing a suite of measures to create regulatory efficiencies and promote certainty for business without lessening or weakening the protections that these processes establish. This includes legislation to remove third-party merits review, which we are also expected to be debating in these sittings. Madam Speaker, the Territory Coordinator Bill has been 4 years in the making. It has been discussed at length, and I'm sure many members here today will have contributions of their own to make and have made. I commend this bill to the House and look forward to the future where the Territory sees economic development not just in our cities, but in our regions as well. An economic future that will see jobs for our children and financial benefits that will flow, enabling our government to deliver on a brighter future for all across the NT. Thank you, Madam Speaker.